In today's video, I'm going to be going over 3 different potential fix and flip deals. And I'm going to show you exactly how I look at these deals, how to evaluate these deals, and I'm going to evaluate each one in under 10 minutes. So you're going to get a very quick and easy to follow understanding of how to look at these deals, how I look at these deals, and how to make sure it's a good deal. I'm also going to put the link to my deal analyzer below, so you can download that for free on my website, as well as the list of real estate investing resources that I use in my business. So that being said, let's jump into it.
All right, so this is the very first deal. This is from a wholesaler. I'm on different wholesalers' buyers list. Here's the address, Hyattsville, Maryland. Looks like it's just a 2-level brick house, has a garage. The very first thing I like to do with a lot of these deals, so this is, they say you can buy it for this price, renovations this amount, and you can sell it for this. So they'll give you some comps. I like to do my own comps. Honestly, the very first thing I like to do is really put this into find out what the Redfin and Zillow values are. So when I put it into Redfin, you can kind of get a better idea of it. So this is what Redfin offers would pay. And one thing to know about the Redfin offers, they will overpay for a lot of deals. So sometimes you can even find like a potential deal that you might just sell an as-is condition and basically just wholesale it to someone like Redfin Now. They're not concerned about making money on these types of deals. So but the Redfin estimate's about 460. So this just gives you always want more information when you're looking at these deals. I try to gather as much info as possible. So here's the property, and this can be helpful because you can see when it was last sold. A lot of times, yeah, this might have not been sold for a long time, but sometimes you might have seen that it didn't sell last year, and you can see the price and you can see what updates they might have done, and that type of thing. But the most important thing we're looking for is the square footage. So it looks like it's 1,300 above grade, 1,300 below grade. And then the wholesaler has provided us with some info as well. 3 bedrooms and 2 baths with a walkout basement with room for another bedroom. So making an egress, if you have to do a legal bedroom in a basement, an egress window really isn't that expensive. It's about $5,000. So that can definitely add a lot of value. And it says full gut renovation needed. We'll look at the photos and then we'll run comps real quick. All right, yeah, so sometimes it's funny because wholesalers and other people will say, oh, this only needs like paint and carpet. This one, they actually said it needs a gut renovation, which it looks like it needs a gut renovation. Oh my gosh. This would actually make for a great YouTube video before and after. I should make an offer on this one. Yeah, this house is not even, I mean, there's just crap everywhere. Look at that bathroom. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. Okay, this house needs a full gut renovation. We can confidently say that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the address and we're going to run some comps. So I like to do at least, usually like the last 6 months. If there's a lot of comps over the last 6 months, then we'll do like the last 3 to 4 months. Because we want to really find the same type of house, same neighborhood, same subdivision. So I'm going to put that in there. And let's see what we come up with. So there's not a ton that are right here. So I might actually just go back just a little bit longer, see if anything else pops up. 240. Okay, so there's still only been three sales in this like general vicinity. Once you kind of cross like a big road, sometimes the comps can be a little bit different. So that's why I try to just really stick to the same subdivision. But we'll take it out a little bit so we can see some comps here. And like I mentioned, you can look at comps in 2 ways. You can look at it at the after renovated value. So you want to find 2 or 3 that have a good after renovated value. You can also see what the as-is ones sell for. Some investors will just basically do a wholesale where they just trash everything out of the property, maybe do some minor landscaping and just present it well for like the next investor or maybe even a potential home buyer who wants to do some work. And those types of deals are a lot less risky because you're not putting like 50, 60, 70,000 into them. So in this case, Tacoma Park and Hyattsville, these are going to be 2 kind of like different types of neighborhoods. So we really want to focus on the Hyattsville ones. So this one was in Hyattsville and it was 1,306 above grade square footage. So we really just want to be within a few hundred feet. This is almost a comp, but I'd say it's a little bit bigger than what we're looking for. That's looking pretty good. That's a little bit too big, 5 bedrooms and 3 baths. This one was only 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. This one's actually a little bit smaller. So I'm going to make sure that this is a Hyattsville address. All right, so we're starting to see some pretty good comps here. Looks like the highest priced one is 520. What did they say this one could sell for? They said renovated is 460 to 480. This one's a 3.2 renovated. Very nicely renovated. And you can see they had a concession of 13,000, so you got to look at that as well. So it's really, like 440 is what it sold for. This one sold for 450. Wasn't even that nice. So sometimes what you want to do is zoom in a little bit closer. So we probably really want to just focus on these three comps right here. Because like I said, once you kind of cross a street, it could just be a totally different neighborhood. So we got 450, 430, and this one's a much bigger house, so we're not even really going to use that. This one sold for 430. It's not bad. It's not great or anything, but it's not bad. So I think their ARV, it's in the ballpark. I might go a little bit lower. In this market, it's been improving so much, but you still want to be conservative because you never know what's going to happen. So let's just say 460. So I'm going to put in the sales price here. This is my deal analyzer, which you can download for free on my website. I'll put the link below. And so the first thing I do, once I find the ARV, the after renovate value, 460, you want to take that and multiply it times 0.7. That gives you enough margin of safety to properly evaluate deals. And then you want to subtract for the cost of repairs. So for this one, they say the renovation is 55 to 65. It's only a 2-level house. I'm going to call it more like 75 just to be on the safe side. And you can kind of see how it's going to change the net profit. And I did 10% interest for 6 months, 2 points. That's what one of my hard money lender charges me. And then because I'm a licensed agent, I only pay 3%. And I'd highly recommend if you're an investor to get your license, you can reach out to me in one of the links below or on social media, and I can get you licensed and everything. But you will save a small fortune, not even a small fortune, a fortune by listing your own properties. And you can also obviously get MLS access if you're a licensed agent. So just doing the 70% formula, I'm just doing this on my phone real quick. So we have 460 times 0.7 minus the cost of repairs. That would bring us to an offer of like 250, right? Which is pretty conservative. I think there's a lot of people that would like to make this amount. So 70%, if you can find a deal anywhere close to that, that's going to be good. But obviously, would you be happy making a little bit less on this? Probably. There's probably people that would do this for like 50,000. So let's say I type in 275. $60,000 profit. Usually with your repairs, you want your repair amount to be like the same amount as the profit. But this is only a 2-level house, so I'd probably be happy making like 60K on this. And you can see what comps they use. I guarantee you they might have used some comps that may or may not have been in the same area. So the property's around here, so they're using comps all around here and here. Which if there's no good comps, you can expand it a little bit. Yeah, these aren't bad comps. I think the 450 range, 460 is pretty accurate. And then as far as the cost of repairs, I have a repair estimator on my website that you can download for free, but you want to just get a general ballpark. You're never going to be exact with your repairs, but you can really look at something. You can say HVAC, and you want to find out what it costs in your area. You can talk to different investors. You can look on Home Advisor and these different websites to say, what is the cost of a brand new HVAC system? $7,500? Okay, perfect. And you can make a very ballpark estimate of different repairs. What is a kitchen going to cost? Okay, 15 to 20,000. Okay. And then you start itemizing the big ticket stuff, and then you're going to add, another 15 or 20% for stuff you didn't think of. And then if you use the 70% formula, you're going to be right there in the ballpark of where you should be. And keep in mind, most deals are not going to be anywhere close to the 70% formula. That's why you have to be selective with these deals. So they're asking 335 for this property. If I paid 335 for this property, and I'm a licensed agent too, and I use their numbers, I'd be losing $6,000. So you got to be careful with some of these wholesalers, because not just because they say it's a deal doesn't mean it's a deal. They're giving me the privilege of losing $6,000, maybe even more than that. So make sure you underwrite your own deals. All right, so here's the next deal. It is a 1620. It's a townhouse condo. So 3 bedrooms, 1 full bath, 2-level condo, no basement, which is good. Sometimes basements can be pretty expensive. Good community, blah, blah, blah. Modest HOA fee of only basically $600 per month. Buy for $385, renovate for $40,000, ARV $500. Sounds like it could have some potential. So the very first thing I'm going to do is just put it in the Redfin, just to get an estimate of the value. The Zestimates and Redfin values, they used to be pretty bad, but now they're actually pretty good. And sometimes it's hard to find them, so sometimes you might actually have to go on Redfin's website, type the address in. This says Zestimate 455. So that kind of just gives us a ballpark. And I'm going to look it up in the tax records, and then run our 70% formula, and then just work our numbers back using the deal analyzer. And you should always look at the property history. This one I think hasn't been sold. Yeah, $44,000 is what they bought it for. Not bad. So this is a condo, and with condos you really have to make sure it's the same square footage, because even just like 100, 200 square foot difference can actually make a massive difference in condos. Condos, we rely more on like price per square foot, whereas a single family house, you're looking more at the comps. So this is 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and this is this square footage. And something interesting to note is that I bet if I look at the comps, I bet they're not using the same comps as this one. See, this is a different square footage, so they're saying 480. This might be the same square footage. Yeah, so that's the same square footage. So this is a good comp. 487, that's not such a good comp. But we at least have at least one good comp to work with. So we're going to take this address, and we're going to find some recent comps. We'll go back 6 months, and then if we can't find anything, we might go back a little bit more. But some appraisers, if there's enough comps, they might only go back like 3 or 4 months. So that's something to keep in mind. Luckily, with this neighborhood, it looks like comps are not going to be too difficult. I think I actually looked at a property over here recently. So this is probably more comps than we need, but we'll narrow it down a little bit. That's about 30 comps. So when you have that many comps, I'm actually going to go back we'll just go back 4 months. That didn't even really do too much. And then we're really going to look for, obviously, the ones in the same condo complex, but we're also going to look for the same exact floor plan. Oh, so these are including 1 bedrooms. I forgot to put, this is a 3 bedroom, I believe. Yeah, 3 bedroom and 1 full bath. So we'll put in 3 bedrooms. That's going to drop down the comps a bit. That only gives us a few comps. So I'm going to go back to 240, get a few more comps, and just going to increase this search a little bit, because there's not 3-bedroom condos. Depending on the area, there's not a ton of 3-bedroom condos. So we want to have some stuff to work with here. And let's see, what did they say this was worth fixed up? ARV 500. Okay. See, this is way too big. That's not a comp. They didn't say that was a comp, but that's definitely not a comp. I like to check them all and then just slowly go through the process of elimination. This is a comp. Exact same square footage, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. That has the extra bathroom, so I'm not even going to use that. And it's also not the same subdivision. We want to be in Park Fairfax. That's Fairlington Green. So this is still a little bit bigger. We can keep it in consideration and maybe just adjust the square footage, price per square foot accordingly. But this is a better comp right here. So we have 2 good comps and 2 okay comps. So they said after renovated value is $500,000. I'm not seeing anything that's $500,000. This one sold for $487 and looks pretty nice. Looks like it was renovated. Let's see the bathrooms. Bathroom is nice, but not, I mean, it's not like renovated or anything. And you only have one bathroom, so it shouldn't be too hard to renovate it. But, you know, in this market, since the price has been going up so much, I mean, I guess you could say it could be worth 500. If it was me, I'd probably say, I'd probably use this number, maybe a little bit, maybe 495. But what concerns me a little bit is this one sold for 420 and was the exact same square footage. And this one, I mean, it's not the worst condo. So that's what concerns me a little bit. There's really 420 and 487. And then, you know, this one's okay, 480. Let's see if it was renovated. Yeah, this one looks nice. Yeah, this one's renovated, but again, it's more square footage, which condos makes a big difference. So because we have this one, we'll go with 490 as the after renovated value. So 490, and then we want to do 490. We want to use the 70% formula times 0.7. That brings us to 490 times 0.7. That brings us to 343, and then we subtract the cost of repairs. They said it's going to cost $40K to repair this. So that would make our offer about $300K. So let's just type it in the deal analyzer. If we paid $300K, put $40,000 into this, yeah, that would be a very substantial profit, especially for a condo, because condos are low risk. Honestly, with this one, I'd be happy making, you know, $40,000 on this. So I could probably pay like $350. And this is also because I'm a licensed agent and I use private money, so I'm saving both of those here in this scenario. Well, for every deal. So that's going to, so I'd be happy. You don't always have to be at the 70% formula, especially if it's a lower risk type of deal. But I could pay $350 for this one. Okay, they want to sell it at $385. So this might be a better deal for like somebody that maybe will live there. Maybe you have a client that can fix it up and live there. And I think their repair estimate is actually somewhat accurate. They said renovations $40,000. I've done 2-bedroom condo renovations that aren't like $1 million condos, and you know, it usually costs about $40,000. So I think they're pretty accurate with that. I just don't think 500. You might be able to get that, but even if you got 500 and you put $40K into it, if you're paying $385, if you're flipping it, it might not be the best deal. So let's do 500, 385. This is using their exact numbers. You're making $15,000, which is way too low to do this type of deal. And that's assuming all their numbers are correct, which usually they're not. So I'd probably have to be around $350 for this to make sense. You could also try just junking the property out, doing some paint, doing a very, very light rehab, and then maybe you sell it. You know, let's say you do $385, and then let's say you only put $15,000 into it. Maybe just paint, trash it out, do some very minor stuff. Then you might be able, let's see what happens if you sold it at like $450. Okay, that's way too low. $475. You know, you're kind of getting in within range of it being a reasonable deal. You want to make a little bit more than that, but look at it from a full renovation standpoint as well as just touching it up and putting it on the MLS in more or less like as is condition. All right, so here's the next deal. We did a single family house, a condo. Now this is a townhouse over in Maryland. There's no basement, 2 levels. It should be pretty straightforward. 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, no basement. Updated windows and parking. Quick flip. Buy for $240. Renovate. You know, $40,000 for a 2-level small little townhouse. That's somewhat reasonable. ARV $340. Take a look at photos. So you know, we'll do the 70% formula again and just run our numbers backwards. I'm gonna look at the photos too. See what kind of condition this is in. All right, so it's got some clutter. Floors don't even look that bad. I mean, this could be like some of these properties, you can just junk them out and then just like put them up for rent after doing some paint and some touch up. Yeah, this doesn't really look that bad. I mean, it's not the nicest. house. Old carpet. Everything's like original, but it looks like it's a newer house. And it's an end unit, which is good. So everything's like livable, just outdated. They said the windows were updated, but that's probably about the only thing. So here's the property, and this was built in 1990. So if you're doing like a really historic, like Washington, D.C. house, for example, the renovation is going to be a lot more expensive. Like the older the house, especially if it has a basement, the more the renovation is going to be. But this is like a newer, 2-level. It's almost basically a condo, only 1,200 square feet. This should be about $40,000 to renovate. And you can see the last time it sold was 2010 for $203. You can see some photos of what it looked like. Kind of looks the same as it does now. And I like reading the description sometimes. Almost new HVAC in 2010, which means they probably haven't changed the HVAC. So the HVAC probably has to be replaced on this. So let's run some comps here. And they said it's worth ARV. They said it's 340. Let's see if they're accurate with that. We'll go back 240 days. And one thing I was going to say, sometimes when it's like a townhouse with an HOA, sometimes people don't always like put condo or fee simple correctly. So sometimes I just leave that blank because you might get more results if you just leave it blank than saying, oh, it's a condo or it's a townhouse. We do a little radius around here. So that should include, there's probably a couple in here that aren't part of the community, but we'll find out. This one is in the Evergreen Estates subdivision. So that's what we want. And it's Plat 3. Honestly, I don't think the Plat's going to make too big of a difference, but make sure it's definitely Evergreen Estates. If we can find Plat 3, that's obviously good, but as long as, see, this is Bowie Newtown, so we're going to delete that one. So we have 12. I might narrow it down a little bit by just going back 6 months instead of, I think I have like 8 months in there. 180. See, after you do this a few times, it gets pretty easy. And then the square footage on this was 1,200. It was only 2 bedrooms and 1,200. So this is 1,800. So that's automatically not a comp. 1,200. That's what we're looking for. 1,200. It's weird that these are different because these have the garage, 3 bedrooms. This one's only a 2-bedroom, so this is what really the type that we're looking for. This almost looks like this just looks like what would happen if it was renovated. This might have been a flipper. Yeah, this looks nice. So this is like the perfect comp right here. It's only 2 bedrooms because these are 4 bedrooms. It's 355, but it's 4 bedrooms. They said it's worth 340 ARV. This one's under contract for 330 after 62 days on market in this market, which is insane. So that probably means it's going to sell for less than that price. So we've really got to focus on the 2 bedrooms. So I'm not even going to really include some of these comps. So it's really, 330. This might even close at like 300. So I think their comps on this are not correct. I think their renovation estimate is somewhat correct. But if we bring out the deal analyzer, say we got to sell it for 300, right? And we got to put 40,000 into it. We're going to have to buy it at I'd have to buy it at like 175. I'd probably literally have to buy it around 175, maybe a little bit higher. If I bought it at 240, I'd be losing a lot of money here. You really need to be conservative, make sure you have a margin of safety in here because these are not comps. If they have 3 bedrooms and a garage, that's not the same as a 2-bedroom with no garage. It's the same square footage and relatively same subdivision, but you gotta be sure. So thanks for watching this video. If you're looking for mentorship or you want to check out real estate investing resources that I use, check out the links below and reach out to me, and see you on the next one.